Hi there, I'm Rebecca and a really warm welcome back to my channel, PumpkinBecki. In this week's video we're going to be looking back at last year's Sempervivum seed sowing experiment. Let's get started. I've had so many requests for updates on these Sempervivum seeds that I planted, and I could lie to you and I could say this is the tray of Sempervivum seeds that I sowed. Look how amazing they are. Wow. But it's not. That's not the tray I sowed. This is the tray I sowed. Look. Here's the label I put with it. It's a bit lackluster, isn't it? I don't know what to say. I kept it here in the greenhouse and I could see that things were germinating, and that was great, and things were moving and things were getting to a size. And then I thought, it's getting really hot in the greenhouse now, I'm going to move these outside. And at that point I kind of lost track of them. Birds were pulling them out, as they will. Blackbirds seem to adore Sempervivum for some reason. And now I don't know whether that was the extent of the germination that I got, or whether I had more but I just lost them because friendly blackbirds moved them round. I don't know. And I'm kind of cross about that. I am really cross about that. And where did this lovely fat tray of Sempervivums come from? Well, they're ones that I've pulled out of other plantings to make space, and they've just accumulated into this lovely grouping. They deserve their own pot too. I've got around 18 or 19 plants out of, I think it was approximately 200 seeds in that packet from King's Seeds. That's not a great germination rate, but I'm going to hope that I have lost some to blackbirds. They've pulled them out, I haven't known where they've come from, and I've just poked them back into another planter to bulk out something else. Impossible to know. There's probably about 4 different varieties in here that I can see. And so this one is different to this one. Is different to this one, and potentially different to these little ones. So maybe now's the time to prick them out and put them into their own little pot and see how they get on. And in the meantime, I'm going to try sowing some more seeds. These seeds are from Just Seeds. I've had things from Just Seeds before and very successfully grown. So let's again carefully work out how they've planted these. Planted them? No, packeted them. Don't be loose, please don't be loose. They're in a little mylar packet again. Now this packet only contains 100 seeds. The sowing instructions for these are about as good as the King's Seeds ones were. Sow them in April to June. This one says a cold frame rather than a greenhouse, which is what the King's Seeds one said. Thin them out when they're big enough to handle and plant out in the spring in their final place. And they flower the following spring. I hope they won't flower the following spring because, well, that means the plant's dead. So Sempervivum are monocarpic, and once they flower, that is it. They are done, but they will have reproduced in other ways. I am sowing these into my B&Q seed and cutting compost, which is nice and sandy. Probably got some finely ground coir in there, and I've added some grit, horticultural grit, to the mixture as well, just to try and improve the drainage, because I note that that one hasn't drained very well at all, and maybe that caused us a problem. There's my index finger tip, just to show you how tiny, tiny, tiny these seeds are. So the little dark line you can see across the bottom there, that is the seeds within this packet. So one good sneeze and I will have lost them all. This tray is going to seem very excessive for these tiny, tiny seeds, but there you go. And I'm going to use the same method I used last time, which is just basically gently tapping. Allowing the seeds to fall onto the soil surface. I'm trying to keep an eye on the packet in my hand rather than the soil surface, because once they're on the soil you'll never see them. So I'm trying to keep an eye on things that are falling out and keep the packet moving once I've seen something drop. A quick inspection and the packet is completely empty. They're on there somewhere. I'm going to do what I did last time and just add some compost to the top through my bonsai sieve. King Seeds one said to just cover them lightly, and this was how I did it last time. I'm just really trying to make sure that there aren't any big lumps going on top. You could probably just sort of crumble it in your fingers and put it across the top. And I'm just really doing it until I start to obscure the grit that I added to the compost. I'm using one of my trusty plastic bottle attachments that's just got a little fine rose on it, and it means I can just sprinkle water on the top. I'm not going to go overboard with the amount of water. This is now going to go into a tray which I can allow water to come up from the bottom. I won't water from the top again now that I've just done this. This is just to make sure that the seeds are in contact with the compost. And then just to finish off the video, we will plant up last year's seedlings. So I've got a terracotta pot here. I've got a couple of bits of crock in the bottom, just to cover and protect the drainage hole. Put in the last of that seed compost that I was using. And I'm just going to use the tip of an old paintbrush to get underneath the plant. It's got some nice roots on it. Good. There's no problem with uprooting these and then just leaving them to sit on the side there for a few minutes. They'll be absolutely fine. If this is your first time watching one of my Sempervivum videos, please go ahead and check out the playlist that I've got. I adore Sempervivum. They are one of my absolute favourite plants. and they are so easy, so fantastic for beginners or people with no room or people with very exposed conditions where other things just wouldn't survive the winter. Maybe they haven't got somewhere they can overwinter something safely. These are the plants for you, my friend. Add some horticultural grit. Make sure there aren't any weeds. And you know my mantra, when you think you've added enough grit, add more. These really do like it nice and free draining. And the replanting couldn't be simpler. Just going to make a little hole to pop the roots into. That's for the ones that have got roots. And it doesn't matter if they haven't, or if the roots are too unwieldy to actually plant up. You can actually remove most of the roots and they will still be very, very happy. To get a handle on just how easy these little plants are, I really would suggest you have a look at the rest of my Sempervivum playlist. There aren't a huge number of people talking about Sempervivum. And of course for the bonsai fans, who I hope are also watching, these make gorgeous accent plants or kusamono for your bonsai trees. Being alpine plants, you can sit them with your alpine species to evoke that sense of environment, and they do really well in tiny pots with very little soil. As I like to say, I have seen them growing on rooftops in France. They don't need soil. These were just going straight onto the roof tiles. So there we have it, my update on last year's seed sowing experiment for Sempervivum, and another try this year. Hopefully I will get a slightly better germination rate than I did with this one. Right, well that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube, and until next time, bye.